Rice, and thank you for tuning into this special edition of the Horse Racing Show. I'm on location now for the 145th running of the Preakness Stakes in Baltimore, Maryland. It's a field of 11. Of course, Authentic is here trying to follow up his Derby win and bring trainer Bob Baffert a record 8th Preakness victory. But the horse is getting a lot of attention and is right now the favorite is Art Collector. You might remember him, had minor foot problem, and he was scratched from the Kentucky Derby. Trainer Tommy Dury is in his first big race, biggest race of his career with Art Collector, and he's getting a lot of attention. Baffert also has another horse that he says is doing really well, and that is the horse that flipped over in the paddock and had to be scratched from the Derby, 1,000 Words. So he brings those two in. A little bit under the radar by his standards, perhaps, is Steve Asmussen. Asmussen, who has done just about everything great this year, including winning 9,000 races in his career. He hit that milestone earlier this year. He has Max Player. That seems to be the live long shot that people are looking at. You might remember he came over from the barn of Linda Rice to Steve Asmussen just before the Kentucky Derby. So this is the second race that he'll have for Asmussen, who also has two other horses in this race, long shots in Accession and Mnemonic. Now, Kenny McPeak brings in the filly. We talked to him earlier this week on the show, Swiss Skydiver. Right now, the third betting choice. Is this the time that she'll be able to do it, becoming only the sixth in 144 previous runnings? Only 5 have ever won, and the last one was the great Rachel Alexandra. Wow, that's been 11 years ago, 11 years ago. Yeah, I had to look that one up right quick. So that's the field that we have, as you probably know, for the Preakness. The Preakness is run 20 weeks after its original date. Usually we're talking middle of May. This is the latest ever running of the race. There will be no fans there today. Some owners are allowed in. Of course, the trainers will be there. We expect many of them to be on location. Walking around the grounds at Pimlico yesterday, empty, really a different feel, but we've experienced it at the Belmont and at the Derby as well. The people up here in Baltimore, very hospitable, friendly, glad that the Preakness is taking place. They made the decision rather early, if you might remember, just after the Kentucky Derby said that they were going to go in September. The Preakness followed suit almost immediately, saying, okay, we'll go a month later. I talked to Baffert yesterday, who's just been great at wheeling his horses back in 2 weeks. Like I say, he's won 7 Preakness in his career, and that ties him all time for the record. And every one of his Derby winners have also won the Preakness. But as we were talking about the difference of 2 weeks as compared to a month, he thinks in the case of Authentic that it will benefit him more, that he continues to grow and fill out more. Looking back at that Kentucky Derby, that was a great stretch run by Authentic. He was challenged by Tiz the Law, who still might be the best 3-year-old, but Authentic beat him, and Authentic did everything right in that Derby with a great ride by John Velasquez. So it's shaping up to be an interesting Preakness indeed, with the exception of Tiz the Law. Barkley tagged the trainer. Jack Knowlton, the owner, with Takatoga Stable. They decided to give him some time off, some well-deserved time off after he didn't win the Derby, pointing him to the Breeders' Cup Classic coming up at Keeneland the first weekend in November. But aside from that, all the top 3-year-olds are in this race. If you look at it right now, who's still available out there running, Baffert, of course, has 2 of them. Kenny McPeak has probably the best filly in the 3-year-old division in Swiss Skydiver right now. Max Player certainly is an interesting long shot. Mr. Big News, you might remember, 3rd in the Derby, a surprise there. Well, he's only 12-1 right now for trainer Brett Calhoun. That's another one to keep an eye on. So it's going to be a fun Derby. It starts at 4:30 Eastern time on NBC, and the race should go off right around 5:45 or so. Ben Chaffins, how are you today?
I'm doing good here, Kenny. How about you?
Doing well. Excited about this. Excited that there's been horse racing throughout the year of all the sports, and you follow them. This has been the one that's been consistent. They were the first sport to really get inside the bubble. They were the first to say, we're going to still have racing. We're not going to have fans, or we're going to limit fans in some cases. And it's worked out well. And one of the reasons is you can bet off track. Yeah, and that's a huge reason that racing has been successful. And some places had just record handles, and they're expecting a lot of interest in this Preakness, because while it's usually true to form, usually the favorite is won right around a 50% clip, which is just amazing. There are a number of horses in here that make it that interesting. So you'll be running out and placing all your money in between watching football games today, Ben Chaffins.
Oh, you know it. In fact, I'm really looking forward to finally being able to place that bet on Art Collector. I wanted to do it in the Derby, but now I get to do it for the Preakness.
And you are among the many. As I said, Art Collector was the second choice when the morning line opened. Right now, he is the favorite in the race. The second choice is the Derby winner, Authentic. Max Player's getting attention, as well as a long shot that seems to be live. And Thousand Words getting some attention as well. He came in as, the number 2 now in the stable of Bob Baffert. And they think if he can control himself in the paddock, that he'll be okay and ready to go today. So, again, everything shapes up for an exciting Preakness, a different kind of Preakness. Now the third leg in this year of the Triple Crown, with no Triple Crown on the line, obviously. But nonetheless, it is a classic race. Trainers need to win this to make their mark, get that classic win. It's very important for the owners, very important for the breeders looking down the road, going to the auction ring to say that they had a horse that won one of the classic races. So that's what we're seeing today. And we also might be getting a look at the Breeders' Cup Classic, a little preview of that. Baffert's told me if Authentic wins and he comes out of this race good, that he's going to be pointed for the Breeders' Cup Classic. He talked about that on the show earlier this week. And what a Breeders' Cup Classic it shapes up to be, with Improbable and Maximum Security, maybe Authentic, and of course Tiz the Law being pointed there. Maybe another 3-year-old will come out of this. So it's a win and you're in, which is kind of funny to say, isn't it? It's a win and you're in. Whoever wins this race automatically qualifies for the Breeders' Cup Classic as well. So that's the way it shapes up here in Baltimore, Ben. I think we're going to have a fun day and an interesting day, and it's just great that there's a horse race going on with all the uncertainty and everything else that's gone on this year. There will be a horse race today. It is the 145th running of the Preakness Stakes.
Nothing could stop horse racing this year.
No, that's been the one that's been consistent. They have done overall a very good job in keeping it going, and we look forward to keeping it going here on this show. Thank you for tuning in today, and good luck out there. I'm going to go with Authentic and Art Collector. Yeah, it's a lot of chalk, but that seems to be the best 2 in there. Maybe Swiss Skydiver and Max Player, throwing them in if you're going for exactas or superfectas and boxing everything together. And possibly Mr. Big News, if you wanted to put a 5th horse in there. That would be an interesting superfecta box. So, what do I know? I'll be back at work next week. So, but we'll take a shot.
Well, you might just hit it, though. You always have that chance.
And that's why we keep showing up. Ben Chaffins, thank you very much, as always, being on Lead Guitar today.
No problem. Kenny, thank you for always doing a good show up there.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back again next week. We'll wrap up the Preakness and start taking a look ahead to some of the contenders for all the Breeders' Cup races here on the Horse Racing Show. Have a good day, everyone.